Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. Global news reports that Canada's auto industry is facing a crucial inflection point, with its future inextricably linked to maintaining free trade with the United States. A new report by RBC highlights two starkly different paths: an optimistic scenario where tariff-free U.S. access could boost production to 2 million units by 2040, or a pessimistic one where assembly plants might close or leave the country by the same year if the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement's auto provisions weaken. Industry leaders, like Brian Kingston of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association, stress the importance of preserving Canada's automotive manufacturing footprint due to its extensive supply chain. While the report suggests exploring investment from Eurasia, Kingston dismisses it as commercially illogical. Instead, the report recommends focusing automotive policy beyond mere assembly volumes to advancements in automation, engineering, and software within vehicles, and capitalizing on Canada's critical minerals for battery supply chains. Radio Canada International reports that an Alberta Court of King's Bench Justice, Shaina Leonard, has ruled as unreasonable elections Alberta's approval of a petition seeking a referendum on Alberta's independence. This significant decision casts uncertainty over the future of the independence petition, which the separatist group Stay Free Alberta claimed had gathered over 300,000 signatures. Justice Leonard's ruling, issued on Wednesday, highlighted two main issues: an error in law by Chief Electoral Officer Gordon McClure in approving the petition, and the government's failure to meet its duty to consult with several First Nations, including Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation, Blood Tribe, Piikani Nation, and Siksika Nation. The judge noted that separation would violate treaty rights, a factor McClure reportedly failed to consider. Stay Free Alberta's leader, Mitch Sylvester, had delivered the petition to Elections Alberta on May 4th after collecting signatures since January 2. Jeff Rath, one of Sylvester's lawyers, expressed strong disagreement with the decision, citing numerous errors of law and a violation of natural justice principles, and announced plans to file appellate documents. Premier Danielle Smith stated she would review the judgment before making further comments, acknowledging ongoing processes. Global news reports that soaring jet fuel prices and ongoing shortages are increasingly affecting air travel in New Brunswick, leading to flight cancellations at Moncton and St. John airports. For June, WestJet has reduced 6 flights from Moncton to Calgary, and PAL Airlines has canceled 2 flights from Moncton to Newfoundland and Labrador. Moncton International Airport's president and CEO, Courtney Burns, stated these changes are linked to fuel costs, noting the industry's dynamic nature. In St. John, Air Canada has canceled 7 flights to Toronto for May, attributed by the airline to aircraft availability and operational constraints rather than solely fuel prices. Fredericton International Airport schedule, however, remains stable. The article also highlights that Canadian insurer Manulife now deems worldwide jet fuel shortages a known event, impacting trip cancellation and interruption insurance coverage. The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is cited as a factor in the significant rise in energy prices over the past year. Global news reports that the Nova Scotia government has taken proactive measures to combat upcoming wildfire seasons by contracting 4 fixed-wing water bombers and a coordination plane. Premier Tim Houston emphasized the growing intensity and unpredictability of wildfire seasons, stating that the new equipment will enhance the province's readiness. The $6.5 million contract for the Air Tractor water bombers and a Cessna Caravan bird dog will run until September 30th, with an option for extension if needed. This decision follows recent severe fire incidents, including the Long Lake wildfire last August, which devastated 84 square kilometers and destroyed 20 homes in the Annapolis Valley, as well as the Lake George wildfire that necessitated 350 evacuations. The province experienced its worst wildfire season on record in 2023, losing over 200 homes and forcing 22,000 people to evacuate. Canada's main stock index, the S&P TSX Composite, fell by 249.30 points on Wednesday, closing at 34,004 make pay years poor, the Dow Jones Industrial Average declining by 67.36 points, while the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite both saw gains, rising by 43.29 and 314.14 points respectively. This divergence, a trend observed for some time, is largely attributed to the strong performance of large U.S. tech stocks, particularly in the artificial intelligence and semiconductor sectors, such as NVIDIA, which rose 2.3%. The Canadian market's lesser exposure to these booming tech sectors has put it at a disadvantage relative to the U.S. broader market declines in the U.S., or influenced by worse-than-expected wholesale inflation data. Following an earlier report of accelerating consumer-level inflation, these inflationary pressures stem from rising fuel and transportation costs, tariffs, and the impact of the war with Iran on global crude oil flow. Oil prices saw modest movement after earlier gains, with Brent crude falling 2% to US $10.563 and the June crude oil contract down 160.163 and the June crude oil contract down 2 sides in 16 balus, 101 time 1 shore and 16 at $101 towards 16.4. On the 6 Heinbasid on $101 doing $3. The Canadian dollar traded at 72.98 cents US, slightly up from Tuesday. The June gold contract also rose by 20 side $4,706.1960. These dollars towards dollars. This report is from the Canadian Press. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.